Duplicate myself. I gotta duplicate myself. I gotta duplicate myself. I gotta duplicate myself. I gotta duplicate myself. Put my skeletons on the shelf, collecting dust for all I care. I gotta radiate the wealth of my knowledge and experience, manifest it for all to share. I gotta duplicate myself, put my skeletons on the shelf, collecting dust for all I care. I gotta radiate the wealth of my knowledge and experience, manifest it for all to share. Oh, I gotta put my skeletons on the shelf, collecting dust for all I care. I gotta radiate the wealth of my knowledge and experience, manifest it for all to share. I gotta duplicate myself, put my skeletons on the shelf, collecting dust for all I care. I gotta radiate the wealth of my knowledge and experience, manifest it for all to share.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Roots to Grooves.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up?
I'm Jesse.
I'm Jay. We're coming live to you from Pioneer Square. I wanted to mention that because it's a colourful day in Pioneer Square today.
It's gorgeous out there. We got live music.
Yeah, if people aren't from here, every first Thursday of the month they do an art walk. There's a lot of art galleries around here. There's an art gallery downstairs, second
Right
floor,
below our feet.
right below our feet, which we might maybe check out. Have free wine.
Yeah. Once business is
and
done.
art. Yeah, and and there's a rock show happening with 4 bands in the alleyway next door as well. Yeah. And a couple of weekends ago, there was a show happening down the street out there, right outside our window. So, got to get Signl part of these musical happenings that are happening down here.
Yeah. Either way, come check it out.
Baby steps, though, always a lot to do, but Roots to Grooves is one of them, and here we are.
Once we know that something's possible, we know we can do it.
Exactly, yeah.
Here we are. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. We're talking about Tiana Khasi.
Yes.
Khasi.
Khasi. This week, originally from Brisbane, but now based in Melbourne, Australia. Brand new artist on the scene, relatively. She's had a few appearances. She's been doing a few things down in Melbourne for quite a few years, for at least the last 6 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
But in 2019, she released her debut EP, not even an album yet, EP called Megalia. And yeah. So this is an artist that I discovered through the process of doing The Drop, which is the weekly mix show that I do, brand new releases from around the world. And I stumbled upon, I think, her first single, which came out in 2018, Nuketown. I haven't been doing The Drop that long, only since 2020, but I discovered that track as a process of putting the show together. And she has a wonderful voice. She's a singer.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, she doesn't have a lot of music out. She's new to the scene.
Yeah.
She's doing stuff anywhere from neo soul, jazz, and pop.
Yeah,
a little bit mixed in.
Yeah, R&B vibes. It's definitely all in that wheelhouse.
Yeah, that kind of that late '90s neo soul.
Yeah.
Vibe with good rhythms.
Yeah,
beautiful melody.
Yeah,
and bringing those two together to create a beautiful sonic landscape.
Yeah,
she has a great voice.
Definitely, yeah. And she's another one of these artists that's bubbling up out of the Melbourne scene as well. There's a lot of great music coming out of there, it seems like.
I think we're on a streak of Australian artists.
Yeah, we are, for some reason. Not all of them from the same era. I mean, Avalanches are from Melbourne, right? But they're like a little bit
But they came out in the 90s.
Exactly, yeah. And then Hiatus Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
They've been around for a decade at least, right?
Yeah.
And what was the other Australian artist we talked about? Well, Pond. Kind of, right?
Pond,
yeah,
who plays with Tame Impala.
Yeah.
So we talked about Pond.
Yeah,
there's another one I can't think of.
Yeah.
But look it up on the YouTube on our list of things because it'll be out by the time this episode is out.
Yeah.
And so we'll have that listed on there.
Yeah.
But I mean, good stuff. It was a pleasure listening to this artist, Tiana Khasi.
Yeah.
And getting into her stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I mean, so she kind of got to start working with some other artists and bands.
Yeah,
in the area, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's jumping too far ahead, but do you know anything about her personal life, like as a child?
Not so much. She was born in Brisbane and grew up there. She calls it, I think I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Mienjin is apparently the traditional Aborigine native land that Brisbane is built on. And she said she's from Mienjin, Brisbane.
Mienjin.
I think that's how you say
it. She obviously is putting a lot of wearing her heritage influence on her sleeves.
Yeah.
Literally on her, CD case sleeves.
Yeah.
And on her releases.
Yeah.
For example, her one album, which is a extended play EP.
Yeah.
Is called Megalia, we decided.
Yeah, that's how you say it. Yeah.
Megalia, and that's a state in the northeastern part of India.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
And it means, in Sanskrit, the abode of clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And I did look up some images of Megalia, and it's a beautiful looking place. It's very green and lush. And
yeah, I saw some pictures of some waterfalls.
Yeah.
I mean, so it feels like a really historical,
Yeah.
almost religious kind of place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely, yeah, I don't know. I looked into the mythology a little bit,
Yeah.
and Megalia is a place that still to this day exercises matriarchy lineage. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's
Like, it's all about the women.
yeah. It's so when you have a family, you take on the last name, the surname of the female, the mother. Mm-hmm. And I think like the husband moves in with the mother-in-law,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And it's all very like a female-led community,
Society.
society, yeah. Which is very interesting. It's just hearing about it seems very otherworldly but cool. Like really, like why isn't this more prevalent throughout the world? Is what I started to think a little bit. It sounds like a very tranquil kind of place, and
I agree.
a way of upbringing kind of thing. And but I think it was like her grandparents, or at least one, like her grandmother that grew up there for a little bit, and they eventually migrated away from there. And this is another thing to say. So, like in 2019 or so, Tiana moved to Melbourne, and it was like moving to a big city for the first time, is what she said. And she was feeling a little bit out of place there and out of sorts. And her dad reminded her that it's where Melbourne is where her grandparents first migrated to from England and India, settled there first. And apparently their graves are still in Melbourne as well. Mm-hmm. So for Tiana, that was like a sort of, oh, okay, I have connection, family here. Heritage, because she's very big on family and her roots and her culture.
She's big on her roots and her grooves,
exactly,
you could say.
And her grooves, yes, absolutely, yeah. There you go. And and it's like it's a cool thing, and also being in Australia, similarly to America, there's a lot of Native American culture here that is unfortunately,
there's not a lot of Native American culture as much as there should be.
Exactly, but I think she's hyper aware of the Aborigine culture and the traditional tribes that existed in Australia, kind of thing. Even to the extent of calling, Brisbane by its original name, kind of thing. So,
so that's awesome that she likes to pay homage to her history and the history of the world. Yeah, and helping those the history move on and you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. That's about it. But so Tiana Khasi, and so kind of her last name refers. She also took that Khasi name. I don't know if it's Khasi, but the Khasi is a group of people. Yeah, it's a word that refers to a group of people, which is broken down in Megalia, in that region. Yeah. So as far as I saw, the Khasi is a group of people, and it's broken down into subsets, and it's referring to, I think it was like 16 heavenly humans, like types of humans or people, tribes, whatever you want to call it. And I guess like as the mythology goes, there was 8 of them, or 7 of them that were stuck on Earth, and then the other 9 are stuck in heaven. And this region, Megalia, is this religious place, and they have a specific like mountain that they used to hike to that supposedly you can go from Earth to heaven and back and forth. Yeah. At some point that they chopped down a tree or something, and now that line is cut off, that ladder to heaven. I'm just kind of riffing off the top of my head of what I was reading about this, because it's actually pretty cool and pretty interesting. And I'd never heard about any of this stuff before.
No, me neither.
But so the Khasi people, and there's these different tribes, all with this kind of matriarchy type, history and lineage and way of life, their culture. Yeah. And so I mean, that's what her name's referring to. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
Little tidbit of history there.
Yeah, it's wonderful, and she's really trying to bring that out into her music, and and sort of communicate their story through like her lyrics and the things she talks about.
Yeah, like self-empowerment.
Yeah.
Heritage and family.
Yeah.
So really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Where do we go from here? Let's play another track.
Yeah. So she only has this one EP out called Megalaya, and I think her first solo release was a track that is featured on this album called Nuketown, and let's play a little bit of this.
How could you think you could cross me twice? How could you think you could cross the line? Once was quite enough, my friend. Once was quite enough, my friend. How could you think you could? Thought you knew better than that, better than that. How could you think? How could? Thought you knew better than that, better than that. Let's talk whenever you're ready. Let's talk whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Whenever you're ready. Do you know I'll be ready? Ready. How could you? How could you? How could you think you could cross me twice? How could you think you could cross the line? Once was quite enough, my friend. Said you crossed the line. Yeah, you crossed it twice. Prepare, prepare, prepare for your demise. Prepare, prepare.
That was Nuketown from Tiana Khasi. First official solo release. And it was produced by a producer out of Australia called Sampology, who I first came across when I went to Melbourne. I went to a record store called Plug 7. Shout out Plug 7 Records, great place. I think I mentioned this before. I think Shio was the lady there. She introduced me to a bunch of great music, vinyl. And I was like, she just kept bringing me things over, and they had a little listening station, and I was just like listening to like all these things. Ended up buying a fat stack of records. I was like, can you leave these here and box them up? And I went around the corner to like go buy a new suitcase. And it was pouring with rain in Melbourne, because I thought Australia was going to be hot and sunshiny, but it was like Seattle on that day. My last day in Melbourne. And I have it here. This is the Sampology album I got.
Awesome.
This is the 12-inch EP called Mount Glorious.
Sweet. I like that album cover.
Yeah, we were playing a little bit of that the other day in the studio. Jordan Rakai is also featured on a track here. He's another, I think he's from New Zealand, Jordan Rakai, but he's based in London now.
Nice.
And yeah, this is a dope record.
That is cool.
Sampology produced all of Tiana Khasi's work up to date to now. Those singles and the EP Megalaya. And yeah, it was a very interesting way they said of doing it, because Tiana does have a band. I think there's been a few different members in her live group. But a lot of these tracks started from like jams that they would do, or it would be ideas that Tiana had from ages ago, or like little beats and ideas that Sampology had. And she said it was kind of magical putting it together, because it's like these ideas that they've both had for years, and they finally found a place to like put them together and to create these songs. And
sounds like it was meant to be.
Exactly, yeah, it does, yeah.
So was Sampology involved with kite string theory?
I'm not sure.
Or no, it's kite string tangle.
Yeah.
Was a band that Tiana Khasi was involved with early on.
Yeah, so she's been involved. She's like featured vocalist on a few projects. Yeah, the Kite String Tangle.
Also Brisbane based.
Yeah, Golden Vessel is another group. Sampology. The Astro Travelers, which I think it sounds like a live hip hop group that does vocals for. She said they worked on a new album. I haven't seen it released yet, but that's also been produced by Sampology. The Astro Travelers new album that is yet to hit.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a lot of great people down there doing great things.
Yeah,
so it's insane. You know?
So yeah, speaking of Sampology, he's like a turntable artist.
He's I think he's like a multi-instrumentalist producer. He does DJ though as well. Yeah.
Yeah, from what I was reading, that's kind of what he's known for.
Okay.
At least, obviously, he produces, and I'm sure he's multi-talented.
Yeah.
As is Tiana Khasi.
Yeah.
But as far as I was reading, he's into DJing, turntables,
vinyl DJing. Yeah.
And then he also he incorporates a lot of visuals.
Yeah.
Which is like a huge part of his show or his performance.
Well, so he did the artwork for this as well, I think.
Cool.
I think his real name is Sam Pogogoli or something like that.
Oh, so it's based on his name.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Sampology. I didn't know that either, but that's a clever name.
Cool. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. It almost sounds like sample.
Yeah.
So, being a DJ, producer,
it's different
kind of
things.
fits.
Yeah, it's like sampleology, or it's sampleology.
Yeah, like he's a professor of sampling.
Exactly.
So cool. But yeah, so obviously she was. I didn't see a lot of her background. I mean, was her family musical? Do you know?
I don't know too much about her family on the musical aspect. I do know that she studied jazz music, like traditionally. I think she went to school for that. And she was asked if she was taught about like traditional stuff or experimental stuff. She said a bit of both, kind of thing, which is cool. So, because I know we talked about Bad, Not Good, and they were like traditionally taught jazz stuff, and they had to break those rules, kind of thing. Tiana talks about that as well. Like, it's good to like break the rules, like, and you
gotta know what the rules are so you can break them.
Exactly, yeah. She said something cool about jazz. I'm trying to find it. Okay, she said Tiana thinks that jazz is more of an umbrella term that has to meet a few criteria. One of them being authentic representation of folk music of the times. That's what she sees it as. And she says it depends on the geography, but she said for her it's really about authentic expression, improvisation, and making the most of what's been presented to you. And so she's mentioned like an artist called John Bapp, who's more of like a contemporary jazz artist. A lot of his stuff is improvised. But yeah, that's kind of like how she sees jazz as I guess
I've never heard jazz explained in that way.
Yeah.
Or
authentic expression.
Described that way. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Her whole description is unmusical.
Yeah.
It's almost all history or geography.
Yeah, and cultural.
And culture, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Saying nothing about what kind of chords you play or or anything other than being a little bit free form.
Exactly.
And what was the other word?
Free form.
Yeah. What was the synonym for that?
Oh, I don't know.
Like I don't know. Forget it. I'm a horrible radio person.
We're radio personalities over here.
Yeah, not much of one over here on my end.
Well, you say many years ago, not many years ago, many episodes ago. Feels like years. This is your radio school, so there you go. We're learning by doing, people. Immersion, yeah. I guess what Tiana also said about creation, she said it's kind of doesn't always have to be driven, but you need some discipline kind of thing. She said sometimes it's discipline that you have to practice even when it feels uncomfortable. Sometimes creating is a necessity and sometimes it's a responsibility. She says like a lot of the tracks that came together, she said it was easy and it just flowed. But then, there were a few tracks that were hard to finish. And she said at that point it became a responsibility because of what she was trying to sing about and communicate through the music sort of thing, that it became her responsibility to see it through and finish it sort of thing.
That's cool. That's really big of her. I like how she says discipline.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say motivation, but motivation does not get you up out of your bed and into the studio and getting things done.
Yeah.
I like that how she takes that responsibility
to
go the extra mile to finish a track.
Yeah.
I like where her head's at.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, I think when you create music, it's like you have to kind of think about what you're doing it for, right? I mean, I enjoy playing music. You know? I'm not a singer, I'm not a vocalist, so I don't have anything specific I want to communicate. But when I'm playing my instrument, I at least in that moment are communicating my emotion, feeling, and putting it into the music.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes you can have the same song, and you do a rehearsal, and it's just not happening. Like, the energy's not there. It's like, why isn't that? It's like, it could be for many reasons. I'm tired or whatever. But like, as soon as you get yourself into that headspace and start emoting through your instrument,
right,
then it becomes something. And it's very weird to explain to people because it's intangible.
It's invisible.
It's invisible.
Yeah.
It's an energy in the room. It's how the musicians are playing with each other. That's why I prefer that versus just being in a studio on a computer, because to me, my most enjoyable times of doing music is playing with other people, other musicians, sort of thing.
Yeah, bouncing ideas off each other, even intellectually having a conversation before you play, but also while you're playing with your instruments.
Yeah.
How are you expressing what you're trying to
It's a form
communicate?
of communication, yeah. I think we talked about this in a few episodes as well, but when you and I first joined this band Sultans, like the first couple of rehearsals, we'd never met before, and we barely even had a conversation between anyone. It was just playing the music. So we started communicating by playing the music, which is cool. But it's like, that's what it is, though. It's like a form of silent communication, but it's not so silent. It's just not verbal. It's not normal,
No, sometimes it could be obnoxiously loud communication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think Tiana sort of talks about those concepts a little bit as well. Like she said, like there's the power the magic that music can have is about sharing a beautiful connection. She says,
100%.
Like especially like being on stage, just like it's the connection she has with the musicians on stage, and also how all that is interacting with the audience that are in the room, kind of thing. She's very aware of that and talks a lot about that. I've heard, sort of thing. So.
Yeah, there's something to that communication, and that's what music is on a level between a band, playing together, between the band and the audience listening to it live.
Yeah.
And then even on a larger stage, like album to album. Yeah. And what are artists saying with this album? What kind of statement are you making with this album? How are they communicating as far as genre goes, and mixing of genres and adding something new, bringing something old back. Yeah. And what's that interaction?
Yeah.
And that's Yeah, it's weird. It's invisible.
Yeah.
We have the visuals of album covers and the faces of artists, but there's so much of this, read between the lines type stuff going on.
Definitely. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, and down with that. And so I've got another track here, though. I have a few things, but I believe this track is a feature that she did with the kite string tangle. I found it, and it was in 2014. So I kind of want to say it's probably like maybe a first official release featuring on something. Not before her, a few years before her solo stuff, sort of thing.
Is this? Can you find this on her own page, like on Spotify, for example?
No, you can't find it through her. You have to hunt it down.
Okay. Where'd you find it?
Just from Googling and seeing what track she was featured on. Discogs, by the way, is a great resource for anyone that wants to dive deeper into any artists. Go to discogs.com. This isn't an advert. This is just a great resource I've seen to like connect the dots, because they also list. It's kind of like an IMDb or a Wikipedia of music. They list like who produced it, who mixed it, where it was recorded, who wrote on the song.
All the stats.
Yeah, so for Tiana Khasi, if you go to her page on Discogs, it shows you some of her features and other things that she's on, which is not linked to her Spotify right now, so or whatever music platform you're on, I don't know, but it was not linked on Spotify. So you have to go hunting around. But you don't have to do hunting around now, because we're going to play this track, right?
Bringing it to you right here in Roots to Grooves.
I let you get away from me. I let you go. I let you down. And something has changed for me. I need you to know that I'm sorry. And I realize now that I was stone cold, and you had a heart of gold. And I saw the words as they were leaving my lips. Wish I could take them back.
One thing that I regret, believing the lies you fed me. I let you in my head, listen to what you said. One thing that I regret, believing the lies you fed me. Make me something I was not. I'll blame you for changing me. Let you control everything. Wanna say that it was wrong, but I don't know who's at fault. Cause I let myself, I'll blame you for changing me. Let you control everything. Wanna say that it was wrong, but I don't know who's at fault. Cause I let myself.
When you looked at me, I just looked away. And you really left your mark, along with the coffee stains and empty picture frames. And I swear that I am just wasting my time, and there's no turning back.
One thing that I regret, believing the lies you fed me. I let you in my head, listen to what you said. One thing that I regret, believing the lies you fed me. Make me something I was not.
Wish I could take him back.
Make me something I was not.
Wish I could take him, wish I could take him back.
Make me something I was not. I'll blame you for changing me. Let you control everything. Wanna say that it was wrong.
Bopping. Pretty energetic.
Yeah, that was called Stone Cold from the Kite String Tangle. He was essentially, I was just looking this up, he's a producer. Danny Harley.
So that's just one guy?
Yeah, just one guy.
Oh, okay.
Multi-instrumentalist, label owner. He's from Brisbane as well. And yeah, that was from 2014. Kind of poppy, you could say, a little bit. Housey, sort of.
I was going to say a little house influence too, which is cool, like mellow. Yeah. Mellow house.
Deep house, you could say, maybe, something like that. Yeah, and that was like one of a few different collaborations he's done throughout the years that is released. And by herself, I think her first album did get some accolades when it came out in 2019 in Australia. They said it was nominated for a Connor Award. Or Corner Award, sorry, not Connor.
Connor? Who's Connor?
Who's Connor, exactly, yeah. Corner Award. Apparently Sampa the Great has won in previous years. Yeah, he's good. Or no, that's someone else. I'm thinking of Sampha, the singer. Sampa the Great is a female artist. She's real.
I had those names spinning around in my head too. Who's who? Now there's Sampology in the mix.
Exactly, yeah. So, kite string. It's a kite string tangle.
I'm getting tangled up, Jay.
And also a 2020 Air Award. We've mentioned that before. I think the
Australian,
Australian Independent Record Labels Association. Nice. Oh, what a mouthful!
You got it.
For best independent R&B soul release. So a lot of nominations, no wins, but some nominations.
It's a good place to start.
Exactly, yeah.
With only an EP out.
With only an EP.
I mean, it's impressive.
Yeah.
We're taking it easy, but that's honestly awesome and impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's basically an artist that's being broken right now.
Yeah.
Is that the term? You break an artist?
Hopefully you can put them back together again.
Yeah. I think that's the industry term, though. Like a producer or a label breaks an artist and puts them in front of people's faces and they make it.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
You all know what I'm talking about. You guys are music people.
Yeah. I guess so. Giles Peterson as well, I mentioned him a lot. UK DJ producer. He came across her track Nuketown, played it on his radio show, put it on a compilation album. Brownswood Bubblers is like this regular compilation release that he does, where he puts out, it's like 10 or so or more tracks from rising artists that are bubbling. That's another way of saying it.
Bubbling.
Not breaking, bubbling.
Carbonated.
Yeah, exactly.
Bubbling to the surface.
Yeah, which is good for her. And it's kind of crazy timing, really, because, she came out with this just in 2019, this EP, and then COVID hit. So, she hasn't really been able to get out into the rest of the world.
COVID putting a damper on her.
Yeah.
On her breakthrough.
And their harsh lockdown measures in Australia as well. I know at least in Brisbane, they had a 3-day lockdown again recently. After things have been opened up for a while. This is August 2021, people. But yeah, so she said about that, though, she hasn't really been writing music during lockdown, because she kind of already wrote material for her upcoming album, which is in the works. So that'll be
very cool. Very excited about that.
But she said she spent most of the time just like reflecting, nurturing herself, going to therapy, just trying to refresh herself. She's part Samoan as well. She said her mum speaks a bit of the language, so she's been teaching herself a little bit of the language as well. Cool. Which she's hoping to incorporate into some upcoming music.
That would be cool.
Yeah, and and she's also saying about the writing process coming up that she wants to employ more of a kind of traditional songwriting structure or concepts to her new work, but still using some experimental recording techniques and stuff. She said she basically wants to write material that can still be performed and played if you strip everything else back, kind of thing. Which we've talked a lot on these shows about how you can a strong song is a strong song no matter how you play it.
Right.
It's like you can remember the melody or whatever and stuff like that, or you could just sing it with an acoustic guitar or with a percussionist, maybe. That's crazy, but like, you know,
even a cappella.
Even a cappella.
You know, you understand what the feeling is being communicated, even if you just have the melody and the lyrics.
Yeah.
And you know, you could infinite amount of different production to add on top of that in different ways, even different chord progressions over the same melody, different ways to express similar ideas.
Yeah. So that's going to be like interesting how she, you know, how she puts those new songs together and how that comes about, sort of thing.
Yeah, she's obviously great, very proficient with her melodies and lyricism. Like it feels natural and it feels very good to hear. Yeah. So she's really talented. Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to listening to more of her stuff.
Definitely, yeah. So yeah, new breaking artist, not the traditional thing that we usually do on here, but you know,
you heard it here first, because she's gonna be you're
big.
Gonna hear about her.
Gonna hear about her,
and you can be like, oh, I listened to this last year on Roots to Grooves.
Exactly, yeah.
I know her first.
We're breaking an artist here, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's about all I have. There's really interesting things that we talked about.
But yeah, go listen. I mean, so one of her albums that she has out is purely remixes.
Yes, remix of the EP, I think. Yeah.
It's all from the EP.
Yeah.
So I listened to that one, and that one's it bops. It's cool.
Great.
It's fun all the way through, and then definitely listen to her EP.
Yeah.
That's on Spotify, and you can find it anywhere else, I'm sure.
Yeah, and she's got some great live performances on YouTube that you can see as well.
That's what I did not do, was see her play live at all.
Yeah, there's a few good things. Some of them old. One that was done during COVID lockdown with her new band set up, and they're playing these songs in a slightly different way than the recorded versions, which is always interesting to see as well. And it's like a short interview that she does as well on there.
I was just trying to look it up. How old is this girl? How old was Tiana?
I don't know.
Relatively young.
Young, I think. Yeah.
Anywhere from 19 to 25.
Yeah, something like that.
Pretty vague. So, she literally doesn't have that much information online yet.
Yeah,
she's that new.
No, she's on social media though.
Yeah, she's got a Facebook page.
Yeah, she does DJ as well. She has an Instagram. She has been during 2021.
She's not a has-been though.
No, it has been. No, has been DJing at a bar called Elixir Music Bar, which is in Cairns, Queensland.
Cairns.
I think that's how you say it. Cairns. Not Cairns. Cairns. It's something like that. It's crazy.
Down in Australia.
Yeah. I think it's like northeast Australia on the coast.
Up in Australia.
Up, down, under.
Up. Go down under, then go up.
Is it still down under if you're in America? Yeah. Yeah. Down under if you're in England. So, yeah, I think it is.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
Yeah, that's Roots to Grooves. That was Tiana Khasi. Short episode this week, but hopefully a good introduction to this lady's wonderful sound world. We'll play out in a little bit.
Yeah, she's got a cool headspace, paying homage to her culture and geographical heritage.
Yeah.
So it's super cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to more. Listen to her EP.
Yeah.
That's all I got as well.
Yeah. Hit us up, roots to grooves at signalradio.com. SIGNL radio.com. Questions, comments, concerns.
Let us know what you think about Tiana Khasi.
Yeah. Comment on YouTube as well. We're all
Shoot us
over that stuff.
Give us a little fun fact. Challenge.
Fun fact challenge. Yeah.
Jay still got a bag of money for somebody who emails.
Bag of cash.
It's no joke, people.
It's no joke.
Balls in your court.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening. This is Roots to Grooves. I'm Jesse.
I'm Jay. And this is the title track from Tiana Khasi's EP from 2019, Megalia.
Peace.
Oh, waterfalls where I come from. Birds, birds, bathe me deep, gold and crimson. Up into the hills I run. On waterfalls where I come from. Birds, oh, birds, bathe me deep, go, bathe me deep, go, bathe me deep, golden crimson. Bathe me, bathe me, bathe me deep, go, bathe me deep, golden crimson. Meghalaya, found my heart up in the hills. I'm so inspired. We burn fires. We burn fires. Very deep, very deep. Teach me to seek the truth and forsake the liars. We burn fires. We burn fire, so beauty may reign again. Beauty may reign again. While I'm cradled in silk and adorned in treasures, I hear the roosters crow, a mystic gesture. Cradled in silk and adorned in treasures, I hear the roosters crow, a mystic gesture. Cradled in silk and adorned in treasures, I hear the roosters crow, a mystic gesture. Cradled in silk and cradled in silk and up into the hills I run. Waterfalls where I come from.
Roots to Grooves is a production of Signl Radio. For more music and independent culture, visit signalradio.com. That's signl radio.com.